Hi folks, I got a question last week about do I use social media to help me write or promote my white paper? It's something that I'm doing more and more, and I'll share a few ideas with you guys, and maybe you'll find some of them of use and you can run with those. And if you have any questions, send them in to me. So the whole idea is that you can use social media to research information, to observe what's happening, but also to identify trends and stuff. It's very good that way, in that you can see what's happening not only in the short term but in the longer term too as well. And I use a different series of alert tools to keep track of different subjects as I'm writing my white papers. And it's nice, it's cheap, and it's very effective. The other thing too is that you can connect with influencers very quick. And when we say influencers, what we mean is that if you're writing, say, a white paper about, say, cloud computing, you can try to find someone on Twitter who's, say, the CEO of a cloud computing company, begin to follow them and see who they're interacting with. Also connecting with, say, technology journalists, see what they're talking about in regards to that area. And if you do it in a sincere way and try to help them, not a kind of a Machiavellian approach, but if you try to connect with people in a sincere way, then as you come to write your white paper, you can either quote them, or they may actually help share it with their readership. So there's a lot of pluses to use social media. Going back to a point we made in the previous video about writing white papers, is the key things we're trying to do is write something for decision makers. And these are essentially people who are often very time poor. And if you're writing a white paper that's aimed towards the commercial, say, a technology market, then it's a great way to connect with technology journalists, write something, and then share it with them, either flip an email to them or send them a tweet. So let's look at 3 ways we can use social media. There's a lot of ways you can do it, but let's zero it down to 3, okay? So the first one is Twitter. I have private and public lists of people that I follow and subjects that I follow, and I use a product called Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE.com. It's free, but one of the nice things about it is that you can track keywords and you can track phrases. So it's a nice simple way to to see what's going on in the market. A lot of the stuff that comes through may not be of interest to you, but you can scan it quickly, and it's a very good way to zero in on things. Obviously, you can start following influencers, people related to your area. And when we say grow ears, we just mean listen. A lot of the time when you're on Twitter, you don't need to be posting non-stop, but you can observe what's happening. You can see what people are talking about. Here's a very interesting thing from a recent UK white paper, where they put on the cover sheet a hashtag, open data, and also included their Twitter handles, from the Cabinet Office in the UK and to support UK transparency. It's a nice touch, and it works very well. It's not something you might want to put into every white paper, but just consider it. It's something that maybe you could think about. As regards Facebook, what I find most useful on it is to ask questions, in the sense that if you find a group about your area where there's a lot of activity, and by the way, where there's a lot of interaction, not just kind of people self-promoting stuff, it's really good. You can create discussions. The one difference between Facebook and Twitter I'd suggest is that photos work very well on Facebook, in the sense that if you can share a photograph about the subject area you're talking about, particularly one that's likely to evoke comments or responses and so forth, that'll work quite well. So consider that. And this is a white paper here that we looked at last week about Facebook data analytics. And the reason we pulled this out, by the way, was because it's quite hard to read, and it's not written by Facebook, by the way. But it just goes to show you that there's a lot of white papers being written about different subject areas, and Facebook would be a classic example of something that's quite hot at the moment. LinkedIn. Try to connect to active groups. Here's the way it works. Let's say you're interested in a particular area, like say cloud computing, and you do a search on LinkedIn. Before you join it, you can look at the site settings, or the group settings, sorry, and you can see not only the amount of traffic or members it has, but you can see the amount of interactions on the group. And because your time is probably quite limited too as well, it's best to only join groups where there's a lot of interaction going on. So by doing that, you can zero in on a couple of LinkedIn groups that are worth your while. If you have any questions about that, by the way, send me an email and I'll explain what we're talking about here. But ask open-ended questions. And what we mean here is that when you join the group, don't kind of promote yourself immediately. Don't try to sell something. Don't try to be too in your face. Instead, just simply ask questions. What do you think of cloud computing? And by doing that, you're more likely to get people to respond, to share stuff. And if the responses from the people you think are quite good, then ask them for permission to quote them in your white paper. And that's a nice way to bring people into the conversation. And of course, the flip side then is that once you finish writing the white paper, you can send an email to that person, and more than likely they're going to share the white paper with their peers because they've been quoted in it. So it's a nice touch. A small thing here is that I'm finding in more and more white papers that people are quoting people, not so much because, say, the quotes here say Howard Rubin of the Wall Street and Technology website, but you can weave similar things into your white paper too as well. You can kind of weave in quotes, recommendations, endorsements, either in the main narrative of the white paper or on the sidebar. They both work very, very well. Quora is another one that is probably not as popular as Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, but I put it in at the end because it's really the best place I've found to find quality. It's really very, very good. In many respects, people are competing with each other to provide the best possible answer. And if you box clever, you can learn a lot about a subject area very, very quickly, but also you can connect with people at Quora. And once of course you can quote them in a white paper, connect to them, share it on Quora, and more than likely then, as in LinkedIn, they'll probably share it with their peers. So just to recap then, your goal with the white paper is to demonstrate authority, that you're an expert in a particular area. You have to have some kind of unique point of view or angle to make it stand out. Otherwise, you just won't get the kind of traction, the interest you're looking for, and it builds credibility. So those are the three things we're looking for. You only need to write something. These days it's fine to write something which is relatively short, between 5 and 20 pages is fine. The main thing is that you need to provide enough information for them to make decisions. And before you do that, look at your competitors, see how they're writing things, see what they're doing or not doing in their white papers, and try and learn from them. Here's a very simple one from Google. It's only 6 pages, and they've caught it all in the white paper, no? So there's a few images, a few charts, they've broken it up, and if you notice on the last slide, number 6, they've included all the references to other documents they quote in it. So that's it. They don't always need to be blockbuster type stuff. In this case, 6 pages did Google. So kind of starting at the top, grow ears, that means just to observe things. Set up Google Alerts, for example. It's a very simple one. Just type in Google Alerts and you'll find the website. Use different social media channels. What works for you may not work for other people and the other way around. I find LinkedIn the best, to be honest. Ask questions, particularly questions where it kind of shows that you want to learn more about a subject area. And then when you do finish writing it, try to write it so that it's remarkable, in the sense that people will remark on what you've written, that your point of view is so interesting, so compelling, they can't help but kind of go, hey, have you read the white paper by such and such? Write it in waves, don't do it in one sitting, give yourself plenty of time, give credit to people if you're going to quote them, and then once you're finished, share the love, promote it, get it out there, and that helps then later on when you want to write your next series of white papers. It becomes much easier to do that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We're going to have another video up next week about using search engines to make your white papers more, the other way around, make your white paper more user-friendly for search engines. So if you find that of interest, please connect to the channel, and tweets, likes, and subscribes would be fantastic. Speak to you soon, okay? Bye-bye.